Hello, my name is Danny Beard, and this is my presentation on my Potion of Resurrection that I created for the video game art module here at Escape. The project brief for this module was to produce a game-ready 3D model of a potion bottle that could be used as a consumable pickup in a game. The prop is a high-detail hero asset which will be seen in the world and in the player's hands in a first-person view. It must be realistic and detailed enough to stand up to close inspection. The potion must follow the art direction provided in the art Bible that you create. You must create your design using reference from the project mood board. The function of the potion should be visually readable to the player. The prop should be optimized for AAA games that run on new-gen consoles such as PS5 and Xbox Series X, and of course PC. The model's parameters must not exceed 5,000 triangles for polygons. The textures must be 2048 by 2048, and we are only allowed one material. The deliverables include an art Bible, which shows concept artwork and the supporting mood board, the Maya scene file with the Maya binary file containing your high and low poly meshes, a Maya UV screenshot, textures, including all texture maps in TGA format, such as base color, normal, ambient occlusion, metalness, roughness, and emissive. And finally, the presentation with screenshots of workflow from Maya, Substance Painter, and Unreal Engine. Maya is an industry-standard software created by Autodesk that is used for 3D modeling characters, environments, and objects. It is used by animators, VFX artists, and video game designers. I have experience in Autodesk Fusion 360, which has a similar viewport and controls, which made it easier for me to adapt to Maya. I started by learning the basics of Maya's modeling tools that can be used to create detailed 3D assets. As practice, I modeled a simple chain by duplicating a single link and assigning it the shape of a curved line. I made a low poly rope using a sweep mesh over a B-spline sketch on the x-axis. I then changed the instances of the tube into 3 chords, which I could twist together to give the effect of a thick rope. As this rope was low poly, it had the basic shape but with sharp edges. To make this model high poly, I added several edge loops using the cut tool and increased the taper to smooth out any harsh geometry. This is my mood board I created as I explored ideas for my potion bottle design. To brainstorm further ideas for my potion bottle, I looked at creating unique bottle shapes and comparing the advantages of a cylindrical body compared to with a cuboid body. On the right is my refined idea and shows how I implemented my favorite elements from my initial sketches into one. My final concept design incorporates the sun and moon to represent dominance that light has over darkness. The halo and the ankh act as both biblical and spiritual representations of life after death. They are a visible motif to show the user the effect of the potion. Highlighted in the pink box is my source images that I used to create my photo brush on the right. To begin my potion bottle, I sketched the curved exterior of my bottle and then revolved it into a 3D object. To achieve a model that was close as possible to my original concept, I projected my photo bash image onto the y-axis so that I could model the components at the correct scale. I experimented with different techniques to create details such as the moon crescent and the amethyst stone. I originally created the crescent by using a Boolean modifier to cut out a semicircular shape from a flattened sphere. The amethyst stone was made using the sculpting tools on a sphere to make it look more rough. To meet the assessment criteria of this module, my potion bottle couldn't exceed 5,000 tries. Tries are a unit of measurement in Maya that tells you the total amount of polygonal faces that make up a model. Video games require real-time rendering, which requires a lot of power. To counteract this, most assets are made with low polygonal counts so that they do not consume as much data. The low poly blockout had to have the silhouette of my design as well as any key details that protruded from the main body's geometry. After consideration, I decided to use a different modeling technique for the moon crescent, as using a boolean gave me multiple n-gons, which are a shape with more than 4 vertices or edges. N-gons create problems with texturing, as the non-uniform shape causes shading errors that can ruin a render. This is my art Bible that I created as a step-by-step guide to show you the process that I went through when thinking of my original design ideas and creating my low poly blockout. My high poly potion bottle was made by duplicating my low poly and adding a significant number of extra edge loops and bevels to give any hard edges a smooth aesthetic. Through the editing process, I had to ensure my high poly intersects with my low poly perfectly, because if they were a different scale, the baking process would not work. The completed high poly contained over 300,000 tries, which would be incompatible for games due to its size. Unwrapping the UVs of a 3D model is a crucial step for when it comes to texturing. It is carried out by cutting seams down components and unfolding them into a flat plane. The complex shapes of my potion's design made it particularly difficult to unwrap certain components, as I needed several cuts which can sometimes be seen when rendering. The UV map has to be tightly packed using tessellation in a 1x1 square on the UV editor. This makes it compatible for texturing in Substance Painter. To create the illusion that my low poly mesh had the detail and smoothness of my high poly, I baked them together in Substance Painter. This step took me through trial and error, as there can be no red geometry in the bake, otherwise the high poly would not be visible. Perhaps the most time-consuming part of this module was the texturing in Substance Painter. The project brief limited me to one material, so every component had to be textured on my one UV map. Using my material breakdown from my art Bible as a guide, I applied gold and brushed metal materials to the main details of my bottle. To give even more photorealism, I added sand particles to the base and manually painted scratches onto the metal to create weathering. The liquid gold was made using a glitter texture with a spiral modifier added to give the effect of swirls and rippling. I increased the emission on the glitter as well as the amethyst stone so that they would glow in Unreal Engine. To create the embossed hieroglyphics around the bands, I designed an alpha in Photoshop and then imported it as a stamp. This allowed me to rotate the bottle and imprint the lettering evenly around its equator. So that the hieroglyphs look 3D, I increased the height of my brush and turned off all other brush modifiers. These are my final UVs and my textured bottle that I created using Substance Painter. I exported my base color, emission, normal, and occlusion, roughness, and metallic textures into Unreal Engine from Substance Painter so that I could link them to my potion bottle using the node graph. This allowed me to increase the emissive and opacity of different materials to make them more effective in the final render. These are my final renders that I took from the viewport in Unreal Engine to showcase my potion bottle on a HDRI backdrop of a desert. This module has greatly expanded my knowledge of Maya and Unreal Engine, while giving me an insight into Substance Painter's capabilities. I feel that my potion bottle meets the brief as it demonstrates my understanding of each software and my ability to bake a highly detailed mesh onto a low poly model. Contradicting this, I feel that my potion strays away from the original idea for game implementation. I wanted my model to fit the aesthetic of Doom Eternal, but it would have been more suited to a game like Assassin's Creed. At first, I was skeptical about the usefulness of this module in my desired field. Upon completion, I have realized the importance of learning the process taken when designing games and how it can be used to aid my visual effects work. If I was to work on a game asset again, I have the understanding of how to produce a model that is suitable for up-close inspection while being gameplay efficient. Thank you for listening.